now solved. And it's so much more ugly and more psychotic than any of us could have possibly envisioned. Essentially, she got caught filing a sham law.
Blake Lively has reportedly been taken into custody. Yes, you read that correctly. Social media is in total shock after sensational reports claim the Gossip Girl actress was arrested for allegedly providing false statements to the court. A police chief has now broken his silence, and what he disclosed has completely turned the situation on its head. According to these reports, Blake supposedly submitted a fraudulent lawsuit as a calculated move to deceive the court, and the judge is reportedly far from pleased. This revelation has sent fans into a frenzy, with many now doubting everything Blake has publicly stated. Meanwhile, Justin Baldwin could end up having the decisive word as the case takes an unexpected twist. So, what really went on behind the scenes? And what is the actual truth behind this alleged sham lawsuit? Over the weekend, it came out that Blake had filed a highly questionable lawsuit just before publicly accusing Justin of misconduct. That single finding has now altered the entire trajectory of the case, leaving both the public and the entertainment world stunned.
In the New York Times, the PR firms, Brian Friedman must be having an absolute...
According to recently surfaced reports, the lawsuit at the center of the controversy was quietly filed back in September, with Blake Lively's company, Banzen, named as the official plaintiff. The alleged goal was to subpoena supposedly incriminating text messages from Justin Baldwin's former PR team without linking Blake's own name to any of the legal documents. Justin's former publicist, Stephanie Jones, along with her firm Jones Works, was reportedly served with a subpoena from New York attorney Samantha Katza, demanding all communications and documents involving Baldoni, Lively, and Ryan Reynolds. The request was extensive, covering emails, texts, documents, and any exchanges that could shed light on the behind-the-scenes drama. Even more shocking, court filings allegedly stated that up to 10 individuals were implicated in harming the plaintiff's business interests and reputation. With accusations this sweeping and clandestine, onlookers are left questioning what Blake was truly attempting to uncover or conceal.
And Jones Work PR, which is run by Stephanie Jones, she's the coffee and Adderall is life woman, okay, is doing the PR for Wayfarer Studios. That's Justin Baldoni, Steve Sarowitz. She is doing, her firm is doing the PR for this film. But she's not personally managing that PR. She has someone under her named Jennifer Abel, who you see there, and she is dealing with this quote-unquote smaller account. And by smaller account, I mean that while Stephanie Jones is out flying around with Jeff Bezos and his soon-to-be wife, Jennifer Abel is dealing with this little baby account that only earns them $20K a month for the firm. Jennifer Abel decides that she wants to leave this firm and she wants to start her own firm. Justin Baldoni and Steve Sarowitz are like, we are going with you if you're going independent because you're the only one we even know at this firm. And we're happy to stay your little account. And Stephanie Jones is like, nah, that is not happening. I am Stephanie Jones. I'm married to a bigwig over at WME. No one leaves Stephanie. I mean, we're talking like toxic relationship with your employer.
Over private messages between former staffer Jennifer Abel, who worked with Justin Baldoni, and PR crisis manager Melissa Nathan, the fallout was massive. Blake Lively reportedly relied heavily on these texts to back her allegations of a smear campaign in August 2024, presenting them as evidence that Justin's team had plotted against her. According to reports, the messages, retrieved from a device Jones handed over to the attorney, allegedly showed Abel and Nathan coordinating plans targeting Blake, including one chilling message from Nathan stating, "We can bury anyone." These exchanges were later highlighted in a major New York Times expose in December 2024, further intensifying the situation. The most suspicious twist came shortly after. The lawsuit that granted Blake access to this material was quietly withdrawn on December 19, 2024, just days before she filed her official mistreatment complaint against Baldoni with the California Civil Rights Department. Fans immediately questioned the timing, calling it calculated and conveniently timed. Attorney Ron Zamrin publicly condemned the move as extremely shady, claiming it was executed deliberately and in complete secrecy. Baldoni's lawyer, Brian Friedman, echoed the concerns, suggesting the operation was far more strategic than it appeared. For anyone catching up, the key players each played distinct roles in how the drama unfolded, some directly linked to the legal claims, others drawn in through leaked messages, PR strategies, or personal connections, creating a tangled web of accusations, alliances, and fallout that escalated into a full-blown scandal. Friedman argued that Blake and Ryan Reynolds' company, Van Zen, had no legitimate stake in the lawsuit, asserting the filing was a tactical move to gain subpoena power while blocking his clients from contesting it, effectively amounting to a fictitious lawsuit filed in bad faith. Blake's team, however, pushed back through media outlets. Attorneys Ezra Hudson and Mike Gottel told Deadline that the case was a lawful, well-structured investigation relying on standard civil subpoenas to identify unknown actors engaging in illegal behavior. They maintained that the messages merely documented a plan by the Wayfair side to target Blake, and that Lively had voluntarily disclosed the subpoena in her filing, knowing it would emerge during discovery. Still, fans remained unconvinced. Abel admitted that she and Nathan had prepared for the lawsuit, saying it was their job to be ready for any scenario, but added they never needed to act because the internet had already done the work, though the comment was later removed from Facebook. The circumstances surrounding how Stephanie Jones initially obtained and delivered the evidence to Blake further fueled public suspicion. Each revelation has gradually clarified the timeline. The New York Times report, the incriminating texts, and the questionable chain of evidence all shaped a narrative that raises more doubts than answers. The timing of the lawsuit's withdrawal adds another layer to an already complex situation, suggesting a pattern of strategic legal maneuvering that prompts questions about ethics, intent, and the lengths each side would go to protect or damage reputations. This entire sequence explains why many fans remain skeptical of Blake's explanations, as the combination of secretive subpoenas, carefully curated evidence, and highly coordinated legal steps reflects an unusually aggressive approach that has dramatically reshaped public perception of the case.
Piece of what Stephanie Jones was saying, that she was complying with.
Now, everything starts to make sense. One of the most striking details is that the Vanson lawsuit filed on Blake Lively's behalf never once mentioned Blake or her husband Ryan Reynolds in the official court documents, almost as if the aim was to keep their names completely off the record. But that's just the surface. As fans dug deeper, they noticed that the legal team behind the filing had a history of using similar tactics in previous cases. The lawsuit was handled by partners at ML Management, the registered agent for Blake's company. For context, ML Management is a CPA firm that handles annual filings, tax matters, business administration, and payment processing for celebrity clients, with a roster that has included stars like Eddie Murphy, Chris Rock, and Ryan Reynolds. Understanding the role of a registered agent is key. This entity receives legal documents, manages compliance paperwork, and serves as the official point of contact, acting as a buffer between a client and a controversial filing. A registered agent's responsibilities are straightforward. They handle lawsuits, notices, and administrative matters without ever taking part in legal strategy itself. But another major red flag appeared. The Vanson lawsuit did not name a single real person suspected of wrongdoing. Instead, it listed a long series of Jane Does. While Doe defendants can be added later, it's highly unusual to file a lawsuit without any identifiable defendants, which is exactly what happened here. Fans also found that the lawsuit does not appear in the records of the Supreme Court of the State of New York, where it was supposedly filed. The reason? The subpoena was written so vaguely that it never requested judicial notice, and no judge was ever assigned. To many, this seemed intentional, a method to prevent public access to the details. When you combine the missing plaintiff names, the use of anonymous Doe defendants, and the lack of proper judicial oversight, a clear picture emerges. The lawsuit was designed to give Blake and her team subpoena power while keeping their identities and involvement hidden. That level of secrecy raises serious questions about transparency, intent, and the true objectives behind the filing. It also calls the legality of the strategy into question. Fans following the case now interpret it as a deliberate effort to manipulate the legal system, reinforcing the perception that the Vanson lawsuit was far from ordinary. carefully structured to operate under the radar while granting Blake and her team access and authority, all while shielding their involvement from public scrutiny.
Backwards to legitimize something that they likely stole. So I'm going to read you directly from this sham lawsuit. It writes, it accuses the 10 Jane Does of, quote, they have participated and may continue to participate in efforts to harm plaintiff, including by failing to act in plaintiff's best interests, taking actions to their personal benefit at plaintiff's expense, failing to freely communicate with plaintiff regarding matters that impact plaintiff's business and reputation, and disclosing to third parties, and failing to keep strictly confidential plaintiff's confidential and or private information. This is just words. Like Samantha Katz, okay, was just...
But why would Blake and the firm go to such lengths? The answer appears tied to Jessica's final days at the company. Just before she resigned, she was summoned to Stephanie's office and pressured into turning over her devices. This is how Stephanie obtained access to the sensitive information that would later become a central element in the case.
Well, I think it was the CEO there. She's got security and she's like, we need your phone because we have a subpoena that we're complying with. And we're taking your personal phone. Jennifer Abel's crying. She's like, I've had this phone number since high school. What do you mean? It has all my pictures, my Facebook, everything. And she's like, nah, hand over your phone right now. It's going down.
The most surprising part is that this wasn't a scheme Blake, her company, or Stephanie could have executed alone. That's where the LLC comes into play. By taking Jessica's phone without proper authorization, Blake, her team, and everyone involved ended up triggering far greater legal and reputational consequences than they likely expected.